Just over the hill. He was 3. He knew his own way up the hill. Mummy used to take him, but now he knew his own way up the hill. There was a place there that was his best place in all the world. When Daddy came back, Peter would take him there. He wanted to show Daddy the moss with the tiny tadstools growing in it. He wanted Daddy to see the little hidden cave with the big flat white snail shells. It would make Daddy smile again when he could see what Peter could see. And the birds. He had a special bird that followed him. It was black and white and danced along at his feet just out of reach. Peter could talk to that bird and tell him all about Daddy. If Peter dug in the soft earth close to the rock, he would find long fat worms. There would be millipedes and moths, little beetles with rainbow shells. There was a long slimy slug with black spots on its grey body. Peter was not afraid of the big spider that sidled under the gum bark. He called the spider Alfred the Great, but when he spoke to it, he shortened it to Big Al. It was his friend too. Peter knew that he was lucky to have so many friends. Today his special place was dull. He knew all its secrets. There must be more to find a little further away. Mummy would not mind. She was always busy with Arthur. Peter walked past his rock, past the little cave with the shells. He crawled under the barbed wire fence and stood up in a new place. The forest was left behind and only grass spread before him. He could see the edge of the world. He looked at it for a long time. Everything was little in this big world. Houses were little. Did little people live in those little houses? A moving truck caught his attention. It moved on a silver thread. Then it was gone where the road turned. Peter sat in the warm grass until a grasshopper landed on his knee. This was the real world. This was what he understood. That other place was too big. He moved and the grasshopper left him. Peter saw a little way off a clump of blackberry bushes. He liked the sweet juice to be found among the prickles. It was hard work, but he did find enough to slake his thirst. The sun was almost at the end of the day. He had better go home. He turned to find his place under the fence again, but now he saw the enormous beasts blocking his path. Black and white, snuffling in the grass. He could hear their breathing and the chewing of their great jaws. Had they seen him? Peter stayed very still. He was sure now that the beasts had not seen him. He remembered the book Mummy had read, with the cow jumping over the moon. These looked a bit like that one. Cows ate grass and made milk and jumped over moons. Peter noticed that the sun had now gone and the sky was aglow with gold. It was the time of day that his heart grew so happy that it choked his throat. Not like when he got asthma. That was a different choke. Asthma choke was a fear that could stop you from moving. He was not frightened now. Even the cows were not frightening any more. He could see that if he walked very carefully and kept looking at them, they would leave him alone and keep eating the grass. He found where the fence would let him crawl under. The darkness was coming in fast now, and the sun had left. If he could get to where his special place was, then he knew he would be safe. But it all looked different now. He did not remember that log pushed against the rock wall that was dark with bad feelings. He had never seen before how the tree branches clutched at the sky. As he looked, tiny points of starlight pierced the darkness. It was dark. The fear closed his throat. It was coming. That time when his breathing would tighten his chest and his throat would burst with trying to draw in air. He could not call out. The fear was stopping him. He looked at the blackness creeping towards him and thought that he would not find his breath again. It happened so gently that at first he did not know that it was happening. A soft light creeping through the darkness. It was so fascinating that Peter forgot about fighting for breath. He could not take his eyes from the place where it grew out there in the dark, a friendliness warming the fear until he felt himself wrapped in the safeness of it. Then it sprang full-formed from behind the rock cliff. His laugh was full of joy and relief. He did not know that the moon could be so big. Even the cow could not jump over this one. This moon was smiling at him, and he knew he was alone in the dark no more. The fear had gone, and his breathing was strong. The light was so bright now that he could see every rock and tree. He could hear the bubuk owl that used to call to him every night as he lay in his bed waiting for dreams to find him. He called back to it now in his thin trickle of a voice. It gave an answer. He called to the moon. The moon answered too. It kept up with him. As he walked, the moon kept pace with him so that he did not feel alone. He heard the bubuk owl again. It was near his special place. He could see now the tiny little cave where the white snail shells shone in the depths with the white light of the moonbeams. Home was not far. He was happy. He had been over the hill and seen the world. He was bursting to tell his mother. Then he heard her call, "Peter! Peter!" He ran now, not afraid of the uneven ground or cows or dark. He was safe. She saw him then. He was not hurt. He was not lost. He was only being naughty again. How could he do this to her? Didn't he understand how worried she was? How could she nurse Arthur and manage everything else since David had divorced her? Her fear for her child's safety had dissolved only to leave a residual anger. "I have been calling and calling you. Why didn't you come?" Without waiting to hear his words, she went on, "You go straight to bed. Go on, and don't wake the baby." He did not mind going straight to bed. He wanted to hide his hurt. He felt more lost now than he had when he had gone over the hill. As he lay in the shadow of his room, he heard again the bubuk owl calling away up there at his secret place. The moon sent its message to him through the curtained window. It did not matter. He still had friends, and when Daddy came back, Peter would tell him all about it.